Okay, good morning, good day, good afternoon. This is Action Coach Christian Harbeck, and today I have Aasiah Moola sitting right next to me from SDD Solutions, and you are an interior design specifically around corporate and healthcare. Welcome to the show. I'm happy to have you here. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Christian. Thank you very much for having me on your show today. And I'm very happy to be here as well. So that's exactly how I feel today. Very happy, actually.
That's great. So let's straight away get to the first question. What is your business all about? Please tell us and share to the audience.
So I am an interior designer with a slight difference. Okay. So before we even get into what it is I do, so let me tell you what interior design definition is. An interior design definition is, it is the art and science of enhancing the interior of a building. Now, most people get designers and decorators very confused. We're actually two very different people.
Okay.
And that's where the massive difference comes in, because I don't just design houses and corporate facilities. I design healthcare facilities.
Okay.
And there are very few healthcare designers out there. And healthcare is my niche market, even though I do everything else.
That is really, really interesting. So what made you go into this niche industry that you're in at the moment?
Well, actually, it's a very funny story, and I'll give it to you as quickly as possible. I'd finished it at design school, and I took a chance. I heard of a hospital group who wanted to upgrade their facility. I was aware that they had a designer on board at the time, but I made an appointment, met with the hospital manager, and I said, this is who I am. I'll do a concept for you. If you like it, we can continue. If you don't, I pick up my stuff, I walk away. I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. And the rest has actually just become history.
It's awesome. So actually, speaking about customers, who would be your ideal target audience? Who do you want to really work with?
Well, I'm looking for the customer who is willing to share their dream with me. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a healthcare facility. It can be your home, your building, but you need to want to share your dream with me, because I can take that dream that you've got only in words and maybe in some pictures somewhere, and I could possibly make that actual dream a reality. And that is the customer I'm looking for, the one who's willing to take a chance on themselves and on me to make it a reality.
Sure, sounds very good. Maybe I must contact you and do something for my office. Yeah, that resonates a lot, because I mean you're basically asking the audience out there, get a chance with you, and you will transform their dreams with buildings and interior design and project management, what you're also doing. So obviously, speaking about the big elephant in the room, COVID has arrived. How has this impacted you and your business?
Well, I must say, COVID hasn't had a negative impact on my business, because I've spent the last 12 years in the healthcare industry. I understand the workings of the healthcare industry. I understand the workings of a hospital, not just from a design point of view, but from a functional point of view. And with COVID hitting and understanding how that facility now needs to function under a pandemic was the most amazing experience of my life, because people started to see what I do in a whole different light. Because I could now sit with you with an entire hospital in front of us, and we could start mapping out, this is where your patient journey begins, this is how it needs to split, this is where you go, this is where this one goes, and this is how we try and keep people safe within your facility.
Yeah.
So it's been phenomenal for me. Not, don't get me wrong, not because people were getting sick,
Yeah.
but because there was a whole new avenue opened up in the way to think.
It's really interesting. I suppose logistics around the hospital can be quite overwhelming. So it definitely is a challenge.
Definitely. A major challenge,
Yeah.
And given that the type of disease COVID is,
Mm.
also poses a challenge, because it not only posed a challenge from a flow perspective or functionality perspective, but also from an air conditioning perspective.
Okay.
You know, but we human beings, we people, we want to hug, we want to shake hands, that is what we need. And suddenly COVID said, stop right there, you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even when you just design a hospital, that is exactly what it is. You arrive there and we tell you when you can eat, when you can sleep, who can visit you, where you can move. So yes, COVID was just
super interesting.
Yeah.
So have you done anything, like one or two things in your business that you have changed, amended to adapt? I mean, I think you mentioned a couple of things, because COVID is here, you have had to change some logistical things around in hospitals. Would that be one of the things that you have changed in your business and adapted to the situation?
Yes, it has, because not only did it have to change the hospital facilities, but it also had to change the corporate facilities.
Okay.
So a lot of my clients were knocking at my door saying, help us. We need to, under level 4, certain people could come back to work. I say, how do we maintain their safety? How do we maintain social distance? Further release on people being able to go out. Help us to change our space. How, we're retrenching people, we're doing this. And I know it's a difficult space for a lot of people to be in. And everybody seems to think, put everybody in a bubble, build them perspex screens and expect people to function under this. But the truth is we can't.
Yeah.
So we've had to come up with ways of designing to make a space safe, yet friendly. And that has been the biggest change out there in the corporates that we've had to look at for them. But I promise you, the good thing about it was you got a chance to breathe life back into a building.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
Yeah. It's must say it's really interesting what you're sharing there. I mean, I don't go into hospitals, not that I have a reason to go there, but it comes together now. I can actually really understand how you conceptualize a project. Really makes a lot of sense. Next question, I'm going to read it off here. It's been said, smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. What mistakes did you make along the way, and how can other entrepreneurs learn from your experience?
I think one of the biggest mistakes I made right at the beginning of starting out was I didn't get a good accountant behind me. The person that says, where is this? I need this now. Let's manage this differently. I think had I had that right at the beginning, I probably would have seen myself in a far better position when COVID hit and a lot of projects got put on hold. But yes, it's a learning curve. And I'd like to say to any entrepreneur out there, if this is what your passion is, because that is what an entrepreneur does. We take our passion and we turn it into what works for us for the rest of our lives. Get yourself a good accountant.
Yes.
And get yourself a good coach to get you through it, because you don't know how a business works. You just have this dream of making it all work. Yeah. But you need someone to guide you. And those are the two people you need to guide you through this process.
Like
a good coach to make sure you're on the right path, and a good accountant to make sure that nobody else is going to bug you along the way.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Very, very good wisdom you're sharing there. Coming back to business and how you run it, have you done anything or did a pivot session, strategy session, sat down with people around a table, brainstormed a little bit? Is there anything you've done on that front?
If we're talking about during COVID, yes, there's been a lot of that on that front. A lot of it's been happening at corporates as well as in the healthcare industry, where you're brainstorming and you're thinking things through and you making sure you can protect people, whether it is in the healthcare or in corporate. That is the main aim. Make sure you can protect the people around you, not just yourself, but the people around you. In fact, I even have that same brainstorming sessions with my family, because we work in the healthcare industry and I do have to go out and I have to be amongst people.
Yeah.
That very same thing, that brainstorming session comes right back to make sure that I can keep my own family safe at the same time.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So what would you have done differently if you could jump into a time machine and just turn back by another 12 months? What would you have done differently?
If I could have turned back time and changed anything, in all honesty, I don't think there was anything I would change.
Brilliant.
Because everything that happened has been the hard times and the good times of the last 12 months has been absolute growth. And had I changed any of that, I don't think I'd be sitting and having the interview with you now.
That's brilliant. Love it. Very cool. So second last question. So I've got all your details, and everybody who's out there, all the details are in the chat below. Is there anything you are offering at the moment? Like, I don't want to call it a special, but what are you doing at the moment that people need to reach out to you and say, okay, I need to chat to you about something?
Look, I think at this point, I'm willing to chat to any of those corporates who's getting ready for their staff to come back to work. And especially those corporates who seem to think putting up Perspex glass all over the place is the answer. Those are the corporates I'd really like to chat to at the moment, because I don't think that's the answer after being in lockdown for such a long time.
Yeah.
For people to come back and still be in lockdown.
Yeah.
In a space where you see people through a piece of glass.
Yeah. Makes sense. Last question. What is the most inspiring thing for you today? If it's not today, just any given time, or what is the most inspiring thing?
During lockdown, I met a client. There's an up-and-coming animation studio. And it was the first time I got into animation. It's the first time I'm doing an animation studio, so I'm learning a heck of a lot at the moment. And one of the most inspiring things about what I've seen thus far is watching these guys grow and seeing what they are so capable of doing. It's just been, I've been dumbfounded at knowing that your face and my face in an animation could have that much detail and emotion. It is absolutely inspiring that somebody can do that.
Yeah, it also makes, looking at, and thank God there is this internet, we are actually quite connected, surprisingly, even with this virus. And I can feel it in my front. So a lot of our business colleagues, a lot of family, a lot of us have actually grown and grown together much closely, even though we can't be in there with ourselves in person, but it's been very good and positive. So what you've been sharing, it's really interesting. And I just wanted to thank you for your time and energy that you've been giving through this interview, and the really interesting details you've been sharing on how a hospital pretty much runs, and the brain behind and how to create something like that. I find it really interesting. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me. Really, it's been absolutely amazing.
Super. Thank you.
Thanks.